Narcissists need that. They need that approval. They need that sense of validation. They need that sense of comfort that the people around them are technically below them and also somehow need them.
The nature of being a kid, the nature of youth is being narcissistic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's we even talk about like as a kid, it's like it's all about you. Have a good time. Yeah. Like don't worry about adult shit.
I love when people are doing great next to me because it's inspiration for me to like, okay, hold up, I can do great as well. Like, hold up, let me step my game up and everything. Let me hopefully inspire others. And
I said it's nothing to me. Ain't new to the ring. I son anybody who wanted with me. The stupidity. If it's I and it's you, then one of these things is losing to me. Who could it be? Will it be you? Indubitably.
Post Vader, the undisputed podcast for the independent music industry, with your hosts Clef Wonder, Jordan, and Calvin II.
Hey, what up, though? My name is Calvin II. Yeah. This is Clef Wonder, and this is Jordan.
Yes, sir. How art thou? That was per Calvin's request. That's what we say in San Diego, apparently.
Yeah, that's how they do it in San Diego. In Detroit, we say, what up, though? In San Diego, they say, how art thou? It's really nice. We got a question today. Do you guys think you have to be a narcissist to be a successful artist?
Do you have to be a narcissist to be a successful artist?
Yeah.
Narcissist.
A narcissist.
Narcissist.
Okay, can we get a Webster's dictionary definition of narcissist?
You know what? Let's look it up. Let's look it up.
Because I do think you have to have narcissistic traits. Sure.
I've talked about this a lot with different people. I have a whole little theory on it, but before that, let's see. Do you have the definition there?
I do. Narcissism. Mm-hmm. Personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. I want to add that this is a probably archaic version of the definition based on how we think of it now.
Yeah, because I was like,
so I will say, in the infancy stages, like I think that like as a kid, the desire to, or I'll just speak for myself, like I think that I've like grown a much healthier relationship with being an artist as an adult. Okay. When I was a kid, it was definitely like, I want to grow up and I want to be famous, which probably on a subconscious level stemmed from like, I want to feel validated, and I want to feel secure within myself. I want to feel like I belong. You know what I'm saying? So I think from that place and from to that definition, like seeking validation, you know what I'm saying? Or needing to be admired, I would say that it probably does oftentimes start as that. You know what I'm saying? Like in your artist journey.
No, I could agree with that. Well, Carl, what do you think?
What do I think? We're saying that it is necessary.
Yeah.
To be successful.
Do you have to be a narcissist to be a successful artist?
Successful. Right. So keyword being successful artist. No. That would be the answer to that question.
I agree with that. Yeah, no is the answer to be successful.
I don't know. I'm gonna come in. I
would say, and here's my reason why. You don't need it to be successful because of the simple reason it's about the company that you keep. So there are people who keep company that are warmed by narcissists, and they like to please this person. They want their approval. And if you got a crew like this, you got a whole bunch of yes mamming and that. No, people like narcissists need that. They need that approval. They need that sense of validation. They need that sense of comfort that the people around them are technically below them and also somehow need them at the same time. Versus there are people who are just simply in the vein of not needing anything from anyone, and it helps them be more successful. There's some people that just come from different backgrounds where they weren't trying to be more competitive, or they weren't in a situation where they were like, I needed to win because I was going up against A, B, and C, and all of these competitive environments I've been in turned me into a narcissist. But at heart, I'm really just a winner. And I'm like, well, that's a bunch of BS, because there's a bunch of winners out here that's just like, not stepping on people to get there. There's a lot of people helping people up to get to the next level, because some people don't need it that way. Some people's form or definition of success is different than others. And so some people,
I think that's what it is. We have to clarify success for one. I think that I do think there's a narcissistic trait in desiring to be a celebrity specifically, or like a public figure. Because what I will say is like, So to my point I was making
Because
earlier,
the question was a celebrity and a successful artist aren't necessarily
they're
same
not
thing.
synonymous. That's what I'm saying. So
close.
like when I think about being young and wanting to be famous, I do feel like that stems from a narcissistic place. I feel like what evolved in my journey was falling in love with the craft. And once it became about craftsmanship and once it became about like actually like wanting to be great at what I do and wanting to put out shit that I love, I feel like it took out it did kind of like substitute for like the whole like, I just want to be famous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my view on it, and I wanted to end because I've said this a lot, like, okay, so entertainment just in all is a very unique thing because I always give people this example, like say if you worked at a spoon company, right? And so you would like wake up, eat cereal, probably with company spoons. You would like go to work, send emails about spoons, get photo shoots about spoons. You know, you're doing all the stuff about spoons and everything. But then after a certain point, you go home to your regular life. Well, it's different in entertainment because in entertainment, you're the spoon. And so it's like, and so it's like this whole thing of you don't have a normal human association with yourself as a regular human does. I have to think of myself as the product because I am the product. So I don't think you have to be a narcissist necessarily, but there are maybe tendencies that are going to overlap.
You have to be highly self-aware.
Yeah.
And you have to have a good sense of how you're perceived.
And you're going to also be more focused on yourself. Again, if you just work in accounting, you know, or just have a regular job, it's like, okay, you think about yourself enough. But if you're the actual product, like when I go into auditions or I go and sing and everything, I'm literally the product.
Okay.
And I am a part of that. And it's not something separate from, I mean, it is separate from me because that's a whole nother conversation. But in that moment, it is being completely fueled by my person. Yeah. And so, you know, it's like, well, if I'm not thinking about that, if I'm not concerned with it, and, you know, if I don't have confidence and thinking that like, oh, I'm great in this and what I'm doing. So, but I really agree with your point, Jordan, as far as, you know, where does that stem from? Is it a thing of like, well, I'm great and others aren't? Or just like, I'm great and I'm showing up and I've done my work and I'm able to present great art. Like, where does it, I think it
depends on where you are in your process.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that like, I don't even think your brain is developed enough. Like, I don't think I achieved any level of self-awareness until I turned like 25 years old.
Okay.
Keep it a buck. Like the concept wasn't even a thing because I just feel like the nature of being a kid, the nature of youth is being narcissistic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's we even talk about like as a kid, it's like it's all about you, have a good time, like don't worry about adult shit. So you kind of go out into the world with this sense of like it's all about me.
But that's a modern thought though. That's a very modern post-90s empowering
post-war, post-industrial.
Well, the thing
so
is,
do you guys feel like y'all weren't raised that way?
No, I don't think because the thing is the greatest generation before that.
I don't know, man.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the greatest generation before us and all that stuff. You know, they're very, you know, known as the self-sacrificing type situations. Yeah. But if I had to put it in like the simplest terms, the participation trophy generation was the generation of you are a winner before you've done anything. Yeah. But you were never told that as if you grew up in the 60s, 70s.
Well, you had to participate.
Yeah, but you didn't get a participation trophy. What I'm saying is people let's take for instance, Lord Jesus. Instance. With LSU, y'all may not know about this. Y'all know you know about LSU?
I do.
You know about LSU? No. All right. So
is that
little background.
Loyola State or whatever?
No, Louisiana.
That's LMU. Okay.
Nah, that's good.
All right. Shout out LMU.
Yeah, LMU.
No. So obviously this championship, women's basketball college.
Yep.
Shout out Flau'jae Johnson. We was on the same TV show. She just won with Reese national women's championship, and they went up against some strong competition. Arguably the best female basketball player in the game. Arguably the best college basketball player in the game, who is female also. So Caitlin Clark. The situation is after they lost the championship game to LSU, the black team, arguably the white team was Iowa. We could just call it what it is. Iowa's a white team.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, LSU was a black team. That's all it was. That's the difference. First Lady of the United States.
Oh, I have heard about this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm like, it was all over
the Constellation Prize. Like they gave the second place.
They were just like, oh, we're going to have both of them to the White House.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, even our generation is like, nah, they ain't win. Why would they go to like, and then like, they don't do that. They play a good game, but they lost.
Yeah, they lost.
Those
Like,
losers don't go to the White House.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the greatest generation, all the people like that and boomers and all that, just like, hell no, why are they going to the White House? But all that stuff, they had to look up how long it's been. They were just like championship teams, world championship teams, and national championship teams have been going to the White House since like 1868 or some shit.
Yeah.
And there's like not once have the losing team has gone there.
It's levels to it. It's levels to it. Okay, so I'm not talking about, you're right. We're in a generation now where it's like coddle your kids.
Yeah.
Right? That's a little different to me than like just the nature of being a kid, which is that you're not really considering other people. Like you are dependent on other people for everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about you. Mm-hmm. And so that's more what I'm talking about. Because to your point, like, a lot of people are being coddled.
They're being a lot of
the one thing I want to say about just the whole participation trophy generation thing, because people say this all the time, and they like blame the people who were given the trophy. Blame whoever was the generation that gave them the trophies.
Oh no, the kids are not to blame.
Yeah,
and the fact that they expect to have one, also they're not to blame.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
I feel like people get mad at the kid, not necessarily you, but like people, and every time it's brought up, they're like, y'all got participation.
No,
I'm like,
I'm not mad at the kids because the thing is, from what I know, they can correct me, come at me in the comments if you want. From what I know, Iowa didn't even want to go. It's like, we don't want to do that. Like, cause the media, social media go come for us. Like, why y'all want to even go to that? Yeah. And now you got Reese out here to, captain the team saying like, yo, we just go to the Obama's house instead. And then you got Michelle Obama like, hold on, I'm friends with these white folks in the White House.
Oh, God.
Okay, we did business with them for 8 years or more. Like, don't put me in it. Because now if I accept you in my home, I'm like, that's me co-signing like y'all did something wrong. Right. So I bet you Michelle had to go up and be like, Jill, Dr. Biden.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need you to retract that so I don't have to say shit.
Yeah. That was weird.
Because so actually, funny thing about participation trophies. This is actually kind of a side tangent, but I'll just go for it. So you sent me that video the other day about dopamine and how we tie dopamine to like rewards, and so it makes like the process less significant or whatever. You remember you sent me that video?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I actually have been like telling myself in the gym like A for an effort and shit.
Uh-huh.
I've been telling myself in the gym, like, yeah, bro, that's that effort right there. Yeah, get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it means to hype myself up, to tie dopamine to effort and not to outcomes.
Yeah,
you know
not
what I'm saying?
outcomes.
Essentially what the thing he's talking about is just like, we gratify the result instead of the process. Versus you're more likely to enjoy your life if you gratify the process, because the process normally takes longer than the result.
Yeah.
So the thing is, people hate the process of things and thus enjoy their lives less because the process is taking up 90% of the time.
No, and it's really the process.
And then the result is lasting like maybe 5% of the time. Really, and I don't even know what the other 5% is. It's the time it takes for you to realize the shit's gone. So so he's just like, attach yourself to the process, gratify the process, find the joy in the process
and the effort specifically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
you tried, like
you're
you got
trying,
up. You showed
and that's
up.
like a flex.
You participated, and you give yourself a trophy
for participation.
Yeah,
literally, bro. So
that's what y'all gotta do.
Yeah,
who's that? I want to shout them out because I feel like we just took that.
And send me the video. I didn't get this magical video.
We'll put some down there to let
put
y'all
a reminder.
But to tie it back, I actually had a thought, and I'm gonna be working it out in real time. So I apologize. Y'all know how.
You're good.
So the difference between like a heightened form of self-awareness and narcissism. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we're talking about, because like at the end of the day, it's one thing to like understand your value and your vessel and your skill set and like what you bring to the table and walk in confidence in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that the subtle difference is believing your hype. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think understanding your hype is one thing. Like a super pretty girl knows she's pretty and she knows that opens doors of opportunity for her. But the difference between that and narcissism is, and therefore I believe that I'm better than you because I'm privileged. I believe my privilege, you know? And I think that just comes with age and process. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely, because it's the context of it. Like, oh, wow, yes, I do have this privilege in that for this period of time and this location, I am considered a very attractive person and everything. But then also realizing that like, oh, okay, if my value is now that, then okay, God forbid something happened, now you're worthless and whatnot.
Exactly.
That same tool.
Live by the praise, die by the criticism.
No, exactly. And it doesn't, I mean, something with me and whatnot that like I've realized is it's hard to, I've told some people there's this thing I think is called self-sick. Like things will be going great in people's careers, everything's good, and they just like not really feeling it. And I feel like a part of that is that when you are so concerned with yourself as you have to be and whatnot, I think that's kind of creates an imbalance. Like I'll literally go and do volunteer work with like homeless people, not even for them. It's a self-check for me. It's like, oh, I was having a bad day. Hold up. This person here is smiling. They're thanking God. They're like saying, oh, thank you. And they're sleeping on the streets. I am comfortable as heck and moping about some temporary thing that I'm going through. Hold up. So it like kind of adjusts my mindset. I always say when you're especially doing, volunteer work and whatnot, like I can't be concerned with myself when I'm helping somebody else at the same time. It's like impossible. Then you realize that like, oh, okay, no matter what I'm going through, I'm needed. This is like, it's important. And then you see them, and then you're like, hold up. Everybody got problems and I want mine. I'm not taking theirs. They got it. No, you know what? Y'all got that one and stuff. And so it's like, it kind of just recalibrates your brain. Because you can start believing that. Like when things are going well even, you could, what do they say? Like that thing about like a win doesn't make you and a loss doesn't break you. And whatnot, you got to balance out the highs and the lows and everything because it's going to come, especially in entertainment. This is like specifically for entertainment stuff. Because,
you know what? That's the funny thing. I'm gonna just add an anecdote to that because who said that? I think it was Tom Hanks. He was sitting at a table with like other greats. So I think maybe a De Niro, Jamie Foxx was there.
Oh, I know the show. It's like Hollywood Reporter. They do that show at the Round Table.
There you go. But he said the main thing he wished he learned younger in life was that when he was winning, Oscars and then box office and all that stuff, to know that this too shall pass. And then also when he was not doing so well, family issues, or because I ain't gonna say box office, he made a bad movie. But and other things like that, he just noticed that this also shall pass. So that goes along with the lines of you talking about like as far as the highs versus the lows and recognizing that it's like operating in a neutral zone of both zones. So it doesn't really matter. But to all that, to slightly segue back to narcissistic behavior, I'm going to put down in the links below where I got this from. But this newfound definition of narcissism, we'll say that there.
Dr. Blank.
There.
Yeah, right
this
there.
Guy.
Basically was saying,
right
this is what she said. She said narcissism actually is the fear of mediocrity. So
everybody's narcissistic then.
No.
I don't know.
That is not a thing.
Break it down.
I got some shit to say about this. So keep going.
Basically,
let them cook.
They saying basically narcissism is the fear of mediocrity, meaning that people who are narcissistic generally have a fear of being seen as average, less than around the people around them. And they want the people around them to understand how great they are. The moment that the people around them do not value their greatness, they then begin actions to gain control of that particular relationship to hold the power over it.
No, that's an interesting thing because it's like I definitely, just my personal experience, I've definitely been in situations where I was not celebrated and everything like that. And it annoyed me, but I was just like, well, let me just I didn't want to change them. I just changed me and kept going.
Right.
And so I think that's maybe sort of like, what is your response to that happening? Because it's like, well, all right, everybody's not going to just believe in you and be your cheerleader and everything. And so I'm not going to be like, no, you have to see me this way. Cause like, I don't know. Everybody's allowed to have their likes and dislikes and everything. And I also don't know if I've always processed it that way. I don't want to sit back and like, I always process it this way. No, but I just think in times when I've personally come up with people not thinking that I was so great, it was like, well, I'd like if you did, but I just kind of keep doing my own thing.
I think the subtle difference is needing people to see your value and your humanity. You know what I'm saying? And like needing people to think you're better than them.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Because
weird.
you're right. We've all been in spaces where we just feel maybe not celebrated or seen or understood. And that's a shitty feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's healthy to then, pivot and find people who do see your value.
Yeah.
Or if you really are a shit person, like maybe like improve parts of yourself. But like, I think the thing that distinguishes narcissism from that is like, I need people to see me on a pedestal. Like you cannot see me as your equal. And if you do, then I need to do everything that I can to like elevate myself, sometimes at the expense of other people.
Nah, and that's where I think it gets really weird, because I want to be as great as I am, but it's like the competition with others, like I'm competitive in a sense of like, I love when people are doing great next to me, because it's inspiration for me to like, okay, hold up, I can do great as well. Like, hold up, let me step my game up and everything. Let me hopefully inspire others and whatnot. But if it's a thing of like, hey, I need y'all to know that, hey, I'm nice and I'm maybe better than you. It's like, that's a weird motivation for me. Like, I want people to know that I am as great as I am and everything. But as far as like, is it like, oh, I'm better than you? Like, no, I feel like it's not a zero-sum game. Everybody can be great.
Yeah.
Or at least the people I'm around. I don't know everybody in the world, but I mean, the people that are I want everybody in my sphere to be great. I don't need to be hanging around people that are like ultimately less than me. No.
Art, do you think you're a narcissist with that in that situation?
I ain't going
because the people who feel like that, I would normally associate, as far as the people I've worked with, the people I work with would associate that behavior with not narcissism. Because there's like, well, God, what's the JayZ quote? Basically, it's a JayZ quote from Boss off the Carter album. And, and we think about this all the time when this is not happening like in a certain collaborative process. So it's like, over here, we measure success by how many people successful next to you. Here we say you broke if everybody is broke except for you. Boss.
Yeah.
That's how I ended the verse. And like the first time I heard this, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
If that wasn't a scripture, that might have been Revelation.
Yeah, that might have been.
Because
might have been Revelation.
That might have been, because the thing is, it rang so true. I was like, oh man. And then you think about every team you've been a part of, every team somebody been a part of. And I'm just like, it either exists or it doesn't.
Yeah.
It either is either a situation where that's happening, everybody is successful, or everyone somehow coming up, everyone validating some type of responsibility to the project, or it's not.
Yeah.
No,
it's very true.
And I'm saying like, and I think a lot of times narcissism for sure disables the ability for team growth. Especially because at some point when you when you're a narcissist, if you're like true to heart with it, you're going to have a high turnover rate. I'm talking about 24 fitness level. Like every time you go in there, somebody else is different working there. Yeah. So like that type of level turnover. And then you just like, well, you got a lot of different people working for you here. A lot of different, you like different manager, this and this. And like, it's like if you got a lot of turnover in your life professionally.
No, that's something to your point, like something that, and only because it kept coming up in all these podcasts, the term alpha male and all that and everything. And people,
who started that?
I don't know. It's a term to describe actual dogs in the wilderness or wolves and everything. And so they try to apply that to humans. And there might be some correlation, but usually the people, if somebody says that term, I know they're about to say some really toxic shit. Usually it's like, hey, I'm about to say some toxic shit. But
that's
first,
the biggest red flag in the world. If you're a self-proclaimed alpha male.
No. But the thing is, like, I actually looked it up a bit and everything, because I was like, okay, everybody keeps saying this. What is it? One of the key traits of an actual alpha male, if everybody's using this term and everything, of the actual wolves is they are literally looking out for the whole pack. It's not just, I'm just going around and doing whatever. No, they're getting food. They're actually bringing resources. They're making sure everybody else eating. If your team ain't eating, you ain't no alpha. If it's just you having a bunch of sex, you ain't no alpha. Is there people in your team eating? If not, okay.
You got it. Everybody got to be eating.
I think it comes down to like, there's always the real thing and the counterfeit thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we're always like, we're going to get a lot of the counterfeit thing. I think the counterfeit thing is narcissism.
Yeah.
That's like the substitute for like true leadership. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I do think that like you have to have a heightened sense of self-awareness, and you have to understand your value in the world, and like you have to understand your hype, I think, to like lead.
Yeah.
But like, I think the subtle difference is like, you can't like for real believe your hype. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really the subtle difference between whether or not you're a narcissist or the healthy substitute, which is like, you understand your value. You know what I'm saying? You understand your power and you move in your power. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You do have to, I do think to be a person of influence, you have to move in your power and you have to understand your power. Right. You just can't perceive yourself as better than other people. Even if people put you on that pedestal, I think you have to proactively humble yourself. Yeah. And like have to remind yourself that like at the end of the day, we're all of equal value as human beings.
And like there's a story of this keyboard player in the Michael Jackson, This Is It. We always talk about Michael Jackson on this podcast.
Love Michael.
Love him. And
did he do it?
He was a keyboardist. Don't stop, bro. Chill. Stop.
That's another podcast.
No, but there was a keyboardist, I forget his name, sorry, but it was a cool scene where he was like, Michael would come up and everything, and he would have like a towel that he would have because he was sweating and everything, and it was just really close to his keyboard, and he would come to him and whatnot in rehearsal and be like, hey, is it okay if I set my towel here? Not like on the keyboard, but like on the stand and whatnot, and he was like, yeah, of course, Michael, it's like his tour, and he would do that every single time. It wasn't like he would like, oh yeah, I've asked him a few times. No, every single time he was just like, hey, is it okay if I set this towel here? He's like, yeah, and he was like, why does he keep doing this? It's like, he had the mindset of like, just that humility and whatnot. He was aware of how he was perceived, but did he lead? Now, did he have to feed into the hype to the degree of he was able to realize and protect himself and his family? Yeah, he's like, okay, hold up. I can't think of myself low. If I go into this mall, somebody could get trampled. Yes. So you have to be aware of your position and everything, but not if you're that position makes me worthy or makes me better than somebody else. Or like to where because if he thought like that, he would never have gone up to the keyboard. He would have just been like, this is my tour. Toss and kept going. Wouldn't he ask?
And definitely wouldn't have kept
people
do that. And people
do
that.
They do worse. What? Yeah.
But the key word that you said was awareness.
Yeah.
And that's, that ties in what he was saying, because the thing is, it's understanding your power basically being aware of how powerful you are. And the thing is, that doesn't mean that how much you control, that means how much you affect. So so you don't necessarily have to be in a situation where I need to tell everybody what to do. It's shit you don't do that affect people. It's the shit that you did on the side that affect people. It's the thing you told Sharon to tell Christina, who ended up telling it to Taylor, and then Taylor came back to you like, you replacing me with Christina? It's one of those things. Like, you got to understand what your power is, the effect you have on people versus who's going to do whatever you say.
It's a slippery slope. You got to, it takes a very seasoned and mature person to like understand that concept, which is why I think more celebrities, or public figures fall prey to being narcissists, because it's like, if you're not already aware of like what that can do to you, then your natural inclination is to become a narcissist. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have any way, if you don't have any spirituality or like thing that like you're rooted in that's like greater than you, then it's very natural if everyone is telling you how great you are,
you're gonna believe it.
You're gonna believe that shit.
Yeah,
you
are.
You really have to like be at a certain place in your process.
For real.
All right. Well, that was a good one.
That was a good one, man. Glad. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much. Hey,
leave your thoughts in the comments.
Leave your thoughts. What y'all think?
Because narcissism is entertaining. Man, it's like watching. It's like watching self-destruct. It's like watching a train wreck a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
we do love narcissistic people. They are it. We love to watch them.
You might not like to interact with them.
I mean,
it can be fun to watch.
That's one situation where we like to see how the sausage is made. With
that's funny.
But we're enlightened by self-aware people.
So, like, could it help you to be, a successful entertainer? Maybe, but it could also hurt you. Maybe in the long run.
I mean,
it's like
if you're not rooted in something bigger than yourself,
you're just gonna grow up to fall. Like, what's the point? You're gonna do all that work and then fall down.
What's the scripture, bro? You probably know it. It's like humble yourself and you'll be exalted. Exalt yourself and you'll be humble.
Humbleness comes before promotion.
He who humbles himself shall be exalted.
And pride comes before a fall. So it's like, humble
yourself. I think that's the principle right there.
There you go. There you go.
But you'll live up there for a little while if you exalt yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what I'm saying?
A little while.
Yeah.
I say if you have strong narcissistic traits, tread lightly.
Yeah.
This is not the 60s or 70s where people can hide behind closed doors and hidden phone calls and everything in snail mail. It's just like,
Now you're gonna get found out, and
you're
people
gonna
are just
get
gonna stop
found
working
out
with
from
you.
some people about what you did, and then you go like accuse other people for putting your business out there. And it's like at some point you're gonna have to understand your effect on the people around you and be like, I can't do this shit. I can't do this shit, or I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, at that point. So if you, that would be my advice to anybody to have it. It's like, I'm not going to say narcissism is 100% wrong because maybe you can use it in a situation like a live show, something's going on. You need to pull rank so things go right. Do it. Deal with the consequences later. But I wouldn't create a mantra with your team that is involved around exalting them. All right, y'all. Be nice to people.
Yeah.
Be nice to your team.
That's a bar. That's a clip in a bar.
Be kind
nice
to the people that is working for you temporarily.
Yeah.
You don't know who's gonna be who next.
Man, let me tell you.
But it will bite you.
It will.
All right.
Yeah. I'm Calvin II. I'm from Detroit.
Are we doing that?
Yeah.
We out here.
We out here. I like it.
Yeah.
WII out here. Bless.
He just wanted to say who he was. Y'all already know.
What?
All right, y'all.